Welcome back to the course on Chemical Reaction Engineering 2. Myself, Nidhi Mehta, Assistant Professor at Chemical Engineering Department, LJ Institute of Engineering and Technology. So, as we have already started with our topic catalysis in our previous session, let's just get a quick review about what is catalyst and what is catalysis before starting today's session. So, what do we mean by the word catalyst? Catalysts are those substances which are added into reaction to enhance the rate of reaction either by providing an alternate pathway or by decreasing the activation energy. And the word catalysis refers to phenomena in which a catalyst is added into reaction to enhance the rate of reaction of any given reaction, right? So now let's just start with our today's topic, which is industrial catalyst. So, as you all know that in our previous session we have seen what are various components of catalyst. So, basically there are three different components of any catalyst: catalytic agent, supporter or carrier, and promoter or inhibitor. So, we have already discussed the purpose of all three of them. Catalytic agent are basically those substances which are responsible to provide catalytic activity in a given reaction. Supporter is a substance which is used to provide a base for our catalytic agents, and promoter or inhibitor are those substance or chemicals which are added into our catalyst to either enhance the rate of reaction or to reduce any kind of side reactions, right? So, this is all about component of catalyst. In today's session, we will start with industrial catalyst. So, basically industrial catalyst can be characterized as bulk catalyst, supported catalyst, or mixed agglomerates, right? So, as you can see here in the picture, we are having bulk catalyst. These small pellets are in the form of bulk catalyst. Then we are having supported catalyst in the form of honeycomb structure, and mixed agglomerate which are in the form of powder here. So, what do we mean by the word bulk catalyst? When the entire catalyst consists of catalytically active substance, then the solid catalyst is termed as bulk catalyst. Is it clear? When the entire catalyst consists of catalytically active substance, then it is termed as bulk catalyst. Now, what do we mean by supported catalyst? So, in case of supported catalyst, the catalytically active material are dispersed over a surface which is known as support, and that support is basically inert material. So, we are just doing coating of our active catalyst over a inert material to provide us a supported catalyst. Then there is a mixed agglomerate. So, mixed agglomerate are basically those catalysts which are in the form of mixture. So, these are basically catalysts which are agglomerated mixture of active substance and support. When we mix them together thoroughly in the form of powdered form, then it is known as mixed agglomerates, right? So, this is all about industrial catalyst. So, these are three important category of industrial catalyst: bulk catalyst, supported catalyst, and mixed agglomerates. Now, coming to preparation of solid catalyst. When we are talking about industrial catalyst, we are generally dealing with solid catalyst. So how we can form or how we can prepare a solid catalyst? So for that we are having different methods to prepare solid catalyst. First one is bulk preparation process. In case of bulk preparation process, when the quantity of catalyst needed is quite high. So in that case we can use a bulk preparation method, and in case of bulk preparation method also we are having two different methods, precipitation process or sol-gel process, right? So that after that we are having impregnation process for forming a solid catalyst, and we can also use physical mixing. One by one we will deal with all these kind of processes. So let's just start with the first one. Now before going to the first method, which is precipitation method or precipitation process, we must understand what are the basic steps which are followed for forming any kind of catalyst. So this is the flow chart, as you can see here, which is generally adopted when we are going to prepare any kind of catalyst. First step to prepare any catalyst is precipitation or gel formation from the starting raw materials which we are using. So first step is just select the raw material and form either precipitate or gel from that material. Right. Once precipitate or gel is formed, we are doing decantation process or filtration process to remove the excess of liquid. Right. We just remove the liquid from the solid which we have obtained. After that, washing and drying is the subsequent steps. We just give it a thorough washing to remove the traces of chemical present in it, and then followed by drying. Then crushing or grinding is done based on the requirement of final product. Then there will be a forming and calcination. Calcination is basically used to remove the traces of moisture which is present in our catalyst. Then there is an impregnation method and final activation method to give our catalyst a activation for making it a catalytically active substance, right? So these are in general steps which are used when we are forming any kind of catalyst. Now let's just start with our first method, which is precipitation method. So in case of precipitation method, what we are going to do is, during precipitation several steps occur, and main step which occur is liquid mixing or supersaturation, followed by nucleation, then there will be a crystal growth, and finally there will be an aggregation of primary particles. So in case of precipitation method, what we are doing? Step number 1, which is liquid mixing or supersaturation. In that step, what we are doing is, we are preparing our solution. We are taking our raw material, preparing our solution and mixing both the liquids. When we are doing the mixing of liquid, it is known as supersaturation or liquid mixing. In that case, we are providing a proper mixing with the help of stirrer, which will help us to form nucleation, right? So in that step there will be a nucleation taking place. That means there will be formation of crystals or particles in the form of either precipitate or gel formation. So in case of precipitation method, there will be formation of precipitate. Initially there will be light form of precipitate which will be formed, but subsequently with the passage of time, that precipitate will be growing and it will have a thick form of precipitate, which will again go in the form of aggregation and it will be in the form of particle size. So this is all about precipitation method. Now what are advantages of precipitation method? So possibility of creating pure and homogeneous material is possible with the help of precipitation method, right? We can obtain pure form of catalyst and homogeneous form of material. But what are various disadvantages of precipitation method? So product separation after precipitation is quite difficult. We need to separate out solid precipitate from that slurry of liquid, right? So that separation is quite tricky. Second disadvantage of precipitation method is generation of large volume of salt containing solutions. So that is again a headache which we need to deal. And lastly, difficulty in maintaining a constant product quality throughout the whole precipitation process. So this is again something which we need to deal when we are adopting a precipitation method. Now, process parameter. What are various process parameter which we must consider when we are dealing with a precipitation method? So there are various parameters which we must know and understand when we are dealing with a precipitation process or method. First one is pH. We must ensure the pH of our initial liquid or initial mixture which we are using, because depending on that only our final product will be having the pH, right? So pH of solution, nature of solvent, composition of our solvent, concentration of solvent, additives, raw material, temperature. These are all various parameters which will affect our precipitation process. So whenever we are selecting precipitation process or method for preparing any kind of catalyst, we need to take care of these 7 parameters. We need to ensure all the temperature, pressure, pH, solvent, etc. that those parameters are kept in the given frames. Otherwise, the final product will have a different quality, right? After this, the next method is sol gel method. So when we are talking about a sol gel method, what do we mean by a sol gel method? In the similar way to precipitation method, we will be using a liquid to form our catalyst. But the only difference between precipitation method and sol gel method is in the physical structure of final product which is obtained. Now, in case of sol gel method, we are taking a solution or precursor of our raw material which we are using, right? We are taking it and giving it a proper stirring. When you are giving it a proper stirring, there will be generation of sol. Sol is basically a molecules which are gathered due to mixing. These sol will combine together to form a large chain which is known as gel. When the small particle of sol combine together to form a chain like structure, then it is known as gel. And this gel is nothing but a catalyst gel which we need to use. Now, the next step is separation of this gel kind of material from liquid. So for that we are having aerogel method and aerogel method, right? Either we can go for supercritical drying or simple drying. Depending on the method we have selected, we'll get either aerogel or aerogel as our final product. So this is all about a sol gel method. Now as you can see, this is a pictorial diagram of a sol gel method where initial step is conversion of molecular precursor to reactive state. That is, we just need to provide it a proper mixing. Once you are providing it a proper mixing, polycondensation of activated molecular precursor will take place, and due to that there will be a formation of sol, which is small structure of particle. Those small structure combine together to form gel, which is known as gelation. In case of gelation, we need to provide it a certain time period, which is known as aging. Once you provide aging, the gel will condense down. After that, we provide washing, drying and heat treatment to give it an activation state. Now, this is the form of how sol is converted into gel. The sol is in the form of dotted structure, as you can see in that picture. When you provide it adequate time, they combine together to form a chain, and then it is known as gel, right? So the formation of clear colloidal solution due to primary condensation of dissolved molecular precursor is basically a sol, and when this colloidal particle merge together subsequently in the gelation stage to give you a polymeric chain by chemical bonding, then it is known as a gel formation or gel, right? Now, process parameter. In case of sol gel method, we need to consider two important parameters for selection, right? First is amount and rate of water which we are adding to form the gel, and second is pH of the solution. So the amount of water which is added in terms of hydrolysis ratio H. So H is defined as moles of water which is added into the solution to form gel upon moles of metal oxide. So if the value of H is less than 1, there is less possibility of forming infinite network because of presence of MOH group, right? So there will be a cross linking or gelation formation. Now, when there is excess amount of water is added, that is H is greater than M, then there will be a cross linking of gel. So these are two parameters which we need to consider when we are selecting a sol gel process. Hope the things are clear, and both the method, precipitation method and sol gel method is clear. Thank you.